Hi, I'm John Hurley. Before looking at my presentation of the four magnets, I'd like to explain what I'm about and also the need for trust in a single world. So let's look at some background for that skepticism. First of all, let's have a look at bankers, or today they're commonly called banksters. And that's a nice little image of them, I think. But it seems that if you or I steal $1,000, we're most likely to go to jail, whichever way you spell it. But what if a bankster steals $1 billion or even $1 trillion? It seems that he gets an obscene bonus and maybe a holiday in the Bahamas from that. Just one exception. Bernie Madoff with the money, over $60 billion. He did go to jail, and I wonder how many people he offended for that to happen. Now let's look at preemptive, superbly stupid, endless wars. Who stands to benefit? You and me? No. Oil companies, military-industrial complex, politicians who are closely linked to those. Who else? Can you guess? Enough said. Here's a map of the Middle East and the next target for an unnecessary stupid war, Iran. This is what we're likely to see soon, and maybe 3 months or 3 years. Which do you think is more likely? It seems that they're pushing for months, doesn't it? And yet this is enormously ludicrous that we should feel that Iran is threatening anyone. Perhaps a way to answer this better is to simply ridicule it. And I think those comments are ridiculous. Then we look at health, and the Food and Drug Administration of the USA acknowledges 100,000 deaths per year from prescription drugs that they have approved as safe and effective, so long as they're given by doctors. The FDA at the same time threatens a maker of high-dose intravenous vitamin C, which has been used successfully since the 1960s without problems, but it's unapproved. The FDA also threatens a Californian marketer of walnuts, where they've said that walnuts are a rich source of omega-3 fatty acids, and that's good for the brain, it's good for the heart, good for lots of things. Can't say that they're good for you. That's a therapeutic claim. And so the FDA, in its wisdom, demands an impossible new drug application, likely to cost $100 million or so for these. But they can't be patented, so there's no way that those companies could do it and regain their outly drug application. Politics. Yes, there's one man who's had 30 years of faithful attendance to Congress, Dr. Ron Paul, claimed recently by many outside the establishment to have won the numbers needed for the Republican nomination. Independent polls said through that time that he would have beaten Obama, but we had very clear evidence of vote stealing, flipping and fraud and a whole range of disgusting things. So why was the establishment determined not to let him win? Well, he could have, perhaps based on his past performance and his intelligence, his ability to predict what was wrong and what needed to be done, he might have turned back the world order and returned the US empire back into a constitutional republic. That republic that the founders worked and slaved for, and also the constitution that the next president will be swearing allegiance to. And that's Ron Paul. Would have made a wonderful president. Just as reference or background to the difference between him and, you can see on the left there, Mitt and Barack, the two that are currently vying for the presidency. All the things that they are on the public record as having supported and in every case Ron Paul voted against them. Yeah, that was the 1% one on that one. US elections, whether it'll be Tweedledum or Tweedledee, same puppeteer. And that means a very uncomfortable future for you and me. A lot of dangers in it. Now, bearing that in mind, I do have something which I believe can help your future. But whether you'll listen to me will mostly depend on trust. And who says so? This man, Michael Oslansky. I got this book very cheap, as you can see, and it's worth a lot more than $99, I can tell you. And his precepts for building trust are 4 Ps. Firstly, personal. In other words, I have to focus on your interests rather than mine. Sometimes that's challenging too, but I need to have your interests uppermost. Plain spoken, I need to resist the temptation to be clever and intimidate you with science or something. No, I need to keep it simple so that you get the message and you can deal with it. Positive, in other words, optimistic without knocking the opposition. And plausible, so truth, common sense and modesty, not overclaiming. And finally, emotion will come into that where you say, well, I feel good about this, or I don't. It's up to you. So I think it's fair to say, who is this John Hurley to be talking? Yes, I've had a life of highs and lows, like many people. Born 1936, long life, still much to do. I've had experience in health research into politics over many years, and I've been guided by, first of all, my father, who was a country doctor, and today Ron Paul, also a doctor, as mentors in terms of justice, fairness, and realising the need for truth and spreading awareness to replace the lies and propaganda that we're surrounded with today. I'm told that I have some talent for explaining complex issues in simple terms. And in terms of global politics and health politics, I've noticed very similar principles and often similar people involved in both sides of each of those issues. Now, it's been a common occurrence in the last 200 years or so that the people who are the thinkers, the teachers, the lawyers and doctors, the professionals of the middle class have been threatened with extinction. It's been a totalitarian objective, and it's happened with Joseph Stalin and Mao Zedong in China. It's happening today, I believe. But just like everyone, I'm here to contribute in the best way I can. And you can see more of my thoughts, I guess, if you go to that blog. Now, what I do when something doesn't make sense is I analyse against previous knowledge and experience. Does it make sense? Does it add up? Who stands to benefit? Very important. Money or power or ego? What are the things that drive it? Understand, research further until it makes sense. And often you'll be surprised that it is so simple. You think, oh, I should have realised this earlier. Don't overcomplicate. Now, when you've done that, please share the story. But in the process, offer, don't bully. Eventually, we'll have a groundswell of awareness that will lead to positive action, and that will happen when enough people stand up for what it. Remember 2 things, please. The message is more important than the messenger, and secondly, our very survival depends on our ability to surround ourselves with people who believe what we believe and have similar values. That was Simon Sinek on an excellent presentation stage. Now, back to the 4-magnet presentation I started with. Will it be of interest to you? Well, up to you. Part 1, why you may need more money, and the importance of cash flow, not savings, against inflation. Robert Kiyosaki is behind that one. Part 2, the power of 4 times and the so far largely neglected potential of a one-time only bonus. That is absolutely huge. Part 3 deals with the company that has the products, the tools and the support to realise it for you, not just for me. So what's next? There's my wonderful wife and myself. This is the way you can contact me. Let's talk. Can we work together? And if we feel we can, then we can go through the 4 magnets. It's me, and thanks for listening.